Welcome, everyone. We have about 1 minute before we get started, so we're going to just wait for everybody else to just come on in. And we're going to have Q&A at the end. So if you already have your questions, you can hold them or you can put them in now, but you might want to listen to what we have first. And then we're going to answer as many questions as possible at the end. I would love you guys to connect with all of us on social media. We are actually not doing introductions because we wanted to get into the meat of the content. So we really want you to connect with all four of us on social media. And we don't want you to just follow us. We want you to connect with us. So please connect with us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, on anywhere else you want to find us. We're pretty easy to find. You just Google us and you can find all four of us. Okay, I think I'm gonna jump right in. Okay, so our first question is, can you each briefly share your journey into financial planning and what drew you to the CFP certification? So I'm gonna start with Chloe.
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually went to college wanting to be an athletic trainer and get into sports medicine. So I knew nothing about this profession. I didn't know that it existed. And so I started in my classes and was really bored. So I took anatomy, biology, like all those classes, nutrition. And so I went to my counselor and I told her, I was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. So she was actually the head of the financial planning department, and she suggested that as a career. She knew that I was really good at math. I had placed into like calculus for engineers and taken AP calculus, and then I also loved helping people, which was why I picked my previous profession. And so she thought it might be a good opportunity for me. So I started taking all the classes, and I just never looked back. Like it was just really connected with me personally. I loved learning all the information and just seeing how I could help people with their money.
Fantastic. Elaine, share your journey with us, please.
Oh, sure. I was 20 years old in Manhattan interviewing for anyone that would give me an interview. And I landed in the biggest bank in the world, didn't even know what a stock was. And I went straight to the mutual fund investment advisory service, which they nicely told me, there's no job for you, Elaine. You're 20, so why should we hire you? And then the phone rang and somebody was in the line in Spanish, and nobody spoke Spanish at that time. So they said, can you take the call? And I said, sure, but I'm not hired. You would actually need to hire me. Well, long story short, I got hired because I spoke Spanish. So that was really cool. And then later I learned what a stock and a bond was. And little by little, I started loving the profession.
Fantastic. And Bridget, tell us your journey.
So I guess I'm considered a career changer. I'd been in finance. I left for a decade and was in a pastry chef, ironically. And then I came back into finance, but I wanted to come in as a financial planner. And in my case, it was because of a personal circumstance. So I was going through a divorce, and I learned that I had debt that I didn't know about. And, to be fair, I had been a career person. I had two little kids. And, in our relationship, I said to my husband, hey, you take care of the bills. I'm too busy. And so at that time, I realized that I would never be in a situation where I didn't I didn't know my own financial situation. And so it truly was like a aha moment. And I decided I was going to come back into finance, but in a financial planning role to serve women who look like me. And so after a number of years of being in the industry, I started in a broker dealer side because I didn't really know what the differences were in our industry. After a number of years, I really felt that I was missing something. I came in here to help with financial planning, and I wasn't really doing that. So it was when I changed firms. That was a very financial planning forward firm, and everybody had this designation. And I was like, what is this? So it was really when I realized that CFP designation, that is this deep financial planning expertise. And that's the whole reason I got into this. So that's really when I decided, okay, I'm going to pursue this designation because that's what I'm trying to accomplish, right? This planning is what I'm trying to do. But it was really a result of, hey, stuff happened to me personally. I don't want this to happen to other women. How do I help them make sure that they have a good financial future?
Fantastic. And for me, I started out in banking and then I was in the marketing side of the business. I actually worked for Lord Abbett Mutual Funds and I ran marketing for them. And then my story's a long story, but I wound up deciding I moved after 9/11. I was in Manhattan during 9/11 and working on Wall Street. And I decided to relocate to Florida after 9/11. And then I said, oh, I'm gonna be a CFP. So there's no question like that. And it was funny because it's a long time ago. So I got my CFP 21 years ago. So I've been a CFP for 21 years. And I knew immediately I was not going to be in this profession without that designation. So for me, it was literally like CFP or nothing, or CFP or bust, or, and our great slogan now is it's got to be a CFP. And it's so amazing because when I started, 21 years ago, we had 40,000 CFPs and now we're over 100. So it's just amazing. So thank you all for listening to our how we got into here. Now I get to ask you guys something. So I want you to take your phones out. I want you to scan the QR code and I want to let us hear from you. What has inspired you to consider a career in financial planning or related fields in finance? And you can just type away and give us your answers. We just want to see where you guys are. So hopefully scan that QR code on your phone, pull it up, answer the questions. Perfect. There we go. Starting to get the answers coming in. I love it. Oh my gosh, so good. My dad brought me in too. So good. Serving people, helping others, flexibility, stability. One story similar to Bridget, education, inspiring, single, sense, tech. My mom, flexibility, desire, financial freedom. Such good answers. By the way, helping people is the most common answer, which is why it's in the middle and the biggest. A couple of dads, so dads are up there too, which is fantastic. My dad is the reason I did as well. So excellent. I'm going to give you guys another about half a minute. So such great answers. Changer, empowerment, teaching. Yes, we are 100% teachers first. My undergraduate was in teaching and I decided I want to teach money instead, but I'm still a teacher. Fantastic. Thanks, guys. we're going to go to the next slide. Okay, so this is another one for you. What do you hear? What do you hear what do you hear? Thank you. CFP professional, what comes to mind first? Such good answers. Oh my gosh. Look at this. I hope Lori Loker's on here so she can bring this to Bliss. That's our PR agency. This incredible answers. Fiduciary, expert, knowledgeable, trust, integrity, educated, ethical, honest, success, skilled, trustworthy. Really great answers. Care. Qualified. Okay. Still have a couple people answering. Fantastic. Fantastic. Great. Okay. I'm going to go on. We'll come back to that if we have questions later. So what are some of the biggest challenges you faced early in your career and how did you overcome them? I'm going to start with Elaine first.
Oh, cool. Okay, sure. So one of the biggest challenges was that I really didn't understand why people would get so upset when they account was up or down 1% different than their peers, or why, why did the financial consultant did this or that? And I thought there's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to just, $100, $1,000. And that's when I started getting curious about it. And I took a postgraduate on family therapy, and I realized that there's much more value when you talk to clients more than just their investments, more than what money means to them. So how is that going to affect their kids? How is that going to affect their lifeline? How is that going to affect their parents? How is that going to affect their relationship or their life plan in general? So that was that's how I was able to face the biggest challenge. A small story. My when I was in investment trading for many years, my boss wanted me to take the CFA, and I did. And I thought, okay, that's a good certification, but I want to talk to people. I really want to make a difference and see the people's faces, you know, their changes and things like that. So, and lastly, my accent 20 years ago was a little stronger. So that was one of my challenges, but you know, I learned to embrace it now. So embrace your uniqueness.
Great. Thank you so much. And Bridget, let's go with you next.
Sure. So, you know, as a career changer and wanting to come into this industry to help people and being all about, okay, how do we, you know, how do we move the needle on the financial literacy for my clients who are women who look like me? I think one of the biggest challenges as a new advisor was this industry. And I was at a place where I was tasked with bringing in numbers, and it wasn't about the relationship part. And I was like, this isn't really why I got into this, but okay. So, I mean, that was really hard to be employed. And this is a really important part of, you know, how we move women along in this industry. But I really struggled with building a practice, with serving the clients that I wanted to, and having to meet certain numbers. And I think this is really important for folks on this call, because what I wound up doing was I said, okay, look, I came into this industry to serve women who look like me. So I call them breadwinner women, right? Cary knows this. Like we serve women professionals, and I wanted to serve women who look like me, really busy women, kids, family, you name it, right? Stuff on their plate. And I said, okay, well, the way I'm going to build my practice is to really focus on the women who do look like me. And in my case, I said, you know what, women attorneys look a lot like, they have a lot of professional challenges similar to women in finance. It's actually really wild. So I decided I would be my authentic self. I would bring these women together, and I would just provide resources to them to help them succeed in their professions. And this goes back to, you know, how do you start as a career changer? You know, who are you serving? How can you really be a trusted resource to folks? And I found, like, my authentic self, that's how I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to serve the people I resonate with. And it made a huge difference.
Amazing. Thank you, Bridget. Chloe,
Yeah,
challenges.
the biggest challenge for me was being underestimated and not being given a fair chance, no matter how hard I worked. And so as I mentioned, I graduated with a degree from a CFP Board registered program. So I was able to kind of jump right in. I got all of my licenses, including my CFP, within the first year of graduating. And so I had, all of the education. Obviously I didn't have a lot of life experience. I was 22, but yeah, I never felt like I was given that fair shot. And every company I've worked for, I was always the only Black female advisor. I wasn't treated the same as my, coworkers who were also at the same level as me. There were constantly like goalposts being moved, or, my boss would create hurdles that didn't exist for other people. So that really made it hard for me to progress throughout my career. And so that's kind of what led me to start my own firm and kind of go out on my own. And so then there I had the challenge of, just figuring out how to help people who look like me. And so similar to Bridget, like I wanted to be able to help, other young professionals or minority women, and who were professionals. So just putting myself out there and being vulnerable was what really changed the trajectory of my career and my business. So I started writing and speaking, and even just with clients, like opening up more and sharing more of my personal experiences, which also encouraged them to open up, and share a lot of their experiences and understand, like Elaine mentioned, about the connection between emotions and money. So that really helped me change my business and my career.
Fantastic. So my challenge, unfortunately, wasn't early in life. It was definitely later in life. And unfortunately, my story is a very long story. And if you read my new book, Women in Wealth, it's in chapter 1. I'll give you the short version of it. But unfortunately, I was a partner at United Capital, and my company got sold to Goldman Sachs. And as a partner, that meant I couldn't get out of the contract. I couldn't quit. I was stuck. I was stuck for a bunch of years, and I lost my voice and my ability to work, and I lost my ability to get clients, and I lost my social media and speaking and writing and all the things that got me out of bed in the morning, because my whole reason for being is to change the profession and make it female friendly. So to have that lost for 3 years of my life was like the worst challenge that I ever had to overcome. I actually did overcome it because I'm here right now talking to you guys. But unfortunately, it was not without a lot of pain. And I moved my clients 4 times in 5 years with 100% retention, which is an absolutely crazy story that you will never hear from anybody else in this industry. And I am not happy about it or proud of it. I mean, it's actually, I'm a little embarrassed, but it was because of the situation with the Goldman fiasco. There's much more detail in the book, but anyway, so resilience is the most important thing for overcoming the challenges that you're going to face in this industry, because they are going to come. I never sugarcoat it when I talk to people. It's the best profession in the world. I love it more than anything. But you're going to have some obstacles. So that's why we're here, to make it easier for you. We're trying to pave the way for you guys next. Okay, so I got you guys, take your phones out again. What do you think is the biggest barrier from women entering financial planning? And there's no right or wrong answers. Just want to see what you guys think. Gender bias is definitely winning here. And unfortunately, gender bias is real. Also, implicit bias is real. And it makes our job a little bit more difficult because of that. Actually, it's all of the above, except I don't think that there's lack of role models or mentors. We can work with you on that. I don't believe that that's an actual issue, unless you just haven't found one yet. And lack of awareness in the profession. A lot of women do not know that a CFP professional is an option. So we're working on that, though. And the CFP, it's got to be a CFP Pro campaign, is doing a lot for that. We've got a lot of brand awareness. We're doing a lot around that. Gender bias in the industry is the most difficult one for us to overcome. So unfortunately, okay, we're going to go. I just want to see where you guys were thinking about that. Okay, another one. For those of you who are in financial services, what do you think is the hardest part of building a practice? And we're going to answer this question next. But I wanted to see what you thought of first. Oh, yes. Yes, notice staying on top of the markets is the bottom. Oh, actually, retaining clients long-term is 0. I didn't even remember putting that one in there. Attracting clients is number 1. But this is great. Finding your niche, standing out in a crowded market. We're gonna address these next. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go on. So I'm gonna ask all panelists your unique niche, or how did you find your value prop? And we're gonna start with Chloe.
Yeah, so I previously worked before I started my own firm, I was working at a trust company. So we worked with ultra high net worth clients and kind of multi-generational wealthy families. And even before then, at my other 2 companies, I worked primarily with, men, breadwinner men, and kind of the traditional household that you'd think of. And so we didn't have a lot of connections with the wives and the families, or if we worked with women, it was mostly widows or divorced women. And so I just never felt like I could personally, relate to a lot of the clients I was working with, specifically at the trust company. I was just helping rich people get richer. And so I've really had a desire to help first gen, clients of people who were just the first person in their family to make money or graduate from college, or just people who maybe, had some of those advantages, but didn't learn a lot of money lessons early on. So just through that process, I started originally marketing myself to young professionals. And my first few clients were tech employees, and I previously worked with some corporate executives in the past. So I saw that as an opportunity to really help the specific area of clients. And I went all in on my marketing, changed everything over to working with clients in tech, and just started attracting more and more tech employees through different marketing efforts. So I think what really helps with my value proposition is that I can personally relate to a lot of my clients. And so my planning approach, I approach it just like I'm approaching, friendships and just really long-term relationships, which is what I want to build with my clients. So just understanding them on a personal level, being able to help them, understand like what their values are, what their goals are, and how they can use money as a tool to make those dreams their reality. So I think that's really kind of, what differentiates me.
Fantastic. Elaine, why don't you give us
Um,
yours?
Well, okay, so for anyone who's listening and wondering, I did think I could hug the whole world and really serve every single person. But the way that the niche works is they actually find you. So when I left corporate after 20 years, I thought, okay, I'm going to be independent. I don't have a book of business. Who's going to hire me? And similar to Chloe, I worked for ultra high net worth individuals, families, and they were the first ones to hire me, family businesses. But interestingly enough, I felt a special bond with the women in the family. And then after my work with, therapy and family systems, I realized that I come from a lineage of women that were pretty strong and needed to be protected and wanted to protect others. And after my parents got divorced and I didn't really think my mom got, an equal treatment, I think that is my driving force. So when I work with families, I always try to give a voice to women. I like to work with families, but always giving a voice to women. So that's how I think the niche found me. And when you find the person that doesn't ask you for a discount, that's when you found your niche. So women are more able to listen to other women, I think. Men don't really listen to me that much or as impactful. I don't know if the other women in the panel will agree. So I tend to levitate to those who actually I can impact the most.
Bridget, that's fantastic. Thank you, Elaine.
So, early on, I shared my story about how I got divorced. I had 2 little kids and I was working. And so I really did want to serve women who look like me. And when I launched my own practice 9 years ago, we were super focused. So initially, I was working with women attorneys. And as I progressed through the career, I realized that I just really love working with women who are the breadwinners in their family, who have a lot on their plate, who just want to live a really good life and have a lot of responsibility. And so we hold ourselves out like Chloe, and I think Chloe, that we're connecting with our clients, right? We share a lot of similarities. I think that really helps us because people come, they want to be served by people who understand them, who get them. And so our niche is people who look like us. And it's women who are running businesses, it's women in tech, it's women who are women attorney partners, but they all share a lot of the same things, which is challenges that women who are the breadwinners have. So all of our marketing speaks to that, our case studies, the work we do, the challenges we solve for clients, right? So like Elaine said, these folks will come to you when they understand that you serve people who look like them. they will come to you. And I think that that is the scary part of niche. Man, am I like losing this huge swath of client base? And I would say, no, you're not. You will think you are, but you're not, because people will come to you for your expertise because you know how to solve their problems. And that has really made a difference to our practice.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, and it's interesting because I don't really like that word niche so much. And then they also say, a lot of people say, you should niche down. So like women is too big, you have to go down and then you have to go down again. And so I happen to have a group of female literary agents in New York City. That's a nichey niche, but it's not an actual, that's not my only niche. But anyway, it's just kind of funny. But when you think about women as a niche, they're not a niche, they are the market. Women are the market. So for all of those who are on this call, we haven't really talked about the Great Wealth Transfer yet, but it is coming. By 2030, women will control 2/3 of the nation's wealth. And we are going to be powerhouse. Women are going to be voting with their dollars, and we need all women financial planners. We need more of you. They need more of us. Women are going to be an incredible part of this economy. They're going to control 2/3 and growing of the nation's wealth. So anyway, the point of that whole thing was that women are not a niche, they're a market. But again, back to what everybody has said, you want to help people who are exactly like you because like attracts like. And so it's the easiest way to get clients because they're literally attracted to you from the law, from the law of attraction. So I was told early on in my career, you are going to eventually mirror your client base. And I didn't even understand what that meant. And here I am now 20 years later, and I have the same net worth as my clients. I have the same income as my clients. I have the same socioeconomic status as my clients. We run in the same circles. We're the same. So now when I started, I don't think it was like that. I think it just evolved over time to that. And guess what? It's just easier that way because I don't like when people say, because I've had a lot of people say to me, I want to do exactly what you did. You can't do exactly what I did because you're not me. You can only do exactly what you can do. So you have different upbringings where you grew up. Just go with what is comfortable to you, what you know, what is easy. And that's the way it's going to be the best way to attract clients. And by the way, I've been max capacity for years. So you can get to the point where you don't even have to take clients if you don't want because you have so many. So that's where you want to get to because it is the hardest part of being an advisor is how to get clients. Okay, so we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so now, what advice would you give to women considering a career in financial planning today? Bridget, we'll start with you.
Okay, so first and foremost, if you don't have the CFP designation, that would be what you should aspire to get. And I say that because women can sometimes suffer from a confidence issue, right? Imposter syndrome. There's a whole litany of things that that get in our way of our success. And one of the things that I think really helps is knowing that you have the expertise. That's base case, right? So I would absolutely suggest if you don't have the CFP credential, you get the credential. And for folks who do have the credential, which is the gold standard in our industry, awesome, because you need that. That CFP designation connotes a level of expertise. And that is what clients are looking for. We're fiduciaries, right? So people know that, they respect that. When people reach out to my firm, they love the fact that we are a fiduciary for them. And so I think starting with the designation is the very first part. And then the next thing I would say is absolutely reach out to your peers. So before I launched my practice, I had been an employee at another firm. And I, because of a series of things, I felt like the only way I could serve my clients best was to really control that process. And I needed to run the firm to do that. But before I did that, I reached out to probably 100 CFPs, no kidding. And I asked them to weigh in on where I was, where I wanted to go. And I think this is the power of our industry. It is a close group of people who want to help each other and our clients, but each other succeed. So I would absolutely suggest for anyone considering a career in this industry, reach out to your peers, reach out to women who have done it or who are where you want to be, and have a call and leverage this group to get some information for your next step. There's nothing better than our network.
Fantastic. Thank you. Chloe, what's your advice?
Yeah, it's very similar to Bridget's. I'd say definitely seek out people who can offer support. So that could be a combination of peers, of people who are where you are, and just you're able to rely on each other and help each other as you're going through obstacles in the profession, and then also mentors, so people who are where you want to be. That it's very important just to have a group of people surrounding you that can help you and support you throughout this career. And also, I mean, any woman that's coming into this industry, we all know that there's going to be obstacles. It's not going to be an easy road all the time, but just don't give up. And I think when you have that village that you create for yourself, it helps you to not give up. We're definitely a helping profession. There's so many people out there who want you to succeed, and so if you haven't found your tribe or your village, just continue looking for those people.
Fantastic. Thank you. Elaine.
Yeah, so I agree with Bridget and Chloe, and I would add a couple of things. Everybody knows me knows I'm from Peru. So when I came to this country, I didn't really have a community. And I found a family in the financial planning community. And how did I get started is by just raising my hand and volunteering in the Financial Planning Association, the CFP Board. I think I've been an ambassador for as long as I've been a CFP member, maybe 20 years or 10 plus. And networking, belonging to groups like, for example, recently I just joined STEP, which is a Society of Trust and Estate Planners, cross-border planning, which is one of my specialties. So join organizations that align with your different unique value proposition, because when something like COVID happens, you have those, to Chloe's point, you have your tribe. Even though they're your peers, they're still there to support you and develop and learn. So somebody who's considering a financial planning career, I would say never stop learning, always learn. Mentors, I want to give you a secret advice, I guess, which is I've had mentors and the mentors don't even know they were my mentors. Like, you don't even need to ask them. You could just, like, with social media now, you could actually read their bios, know what they're doing, see how you can add value by also learning like them, or reading what they publish. So you could have, like, I mean, Warren Buffett is my mentor, of course, but he doesn't know it. So things like that, you know what I'm saying? So learn from others and be your unique self.
Yes, perfect. And I would say definitely be yourself because everybody else is taken. And then also, we are here building the bridges for you so that your journey is going to be smoother than our journey was. So we are here for you. I want you to bring your heart, your brain, and women will thank you and need you. Because again, back to the great wealth transfer, there's never been a better time in history to be a female professional CFP, like ever. Like, we are on the precipice of this incredible transfer of wealth. And I'm so excited for you guys. It literally gives me chills. I have goosebumps right now because it's an incredible time. So you couldn't have planned it better. And you probably didn't even know, but it's perfect timing. So, okay, we're going to go on to the next one. And you guys get to pull your Slido phone out and say, what advice would you give your younger self starting out in finance? And you might even be young, so. We have all different ages. Oh, good. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. I've got to move so I can see everybody's answers. Be confident. Don't be intimidated. Be brave. Start sooner. Have confidence. Be bold. You're smarter than you think. Don't be afraid. Trust yourself. Make more connections. Networking is incredibly important in this industry. Be bold, be confident. So good. Take the jump. Confidence is a very important key to succeeding in this profession. We don't talk about it enough, but it really is. It's fantastic. Great.
That should be
Great.
the topic for the next webinar, Cary.
It is. That's a good one. We'll do a whole topic. We'll do a whole webinar on it. It's a great idea. Okay. So now we've got another question. How do we stay motivated, support each other, and continue to grow in our careers? Elaine, let's start with you.
Okay. Well, on a personal level, I meditate, I exercise. I personally I need to exercise before I start working because that's my oomph, that's my energy. I do a lot of affirmations. I strongly suggest for any women listening that they should have, even if you're an entrepreneur, you should have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. You should say it to yourself every day, every week, believe it, because I heard something the other day that it really hit home. It said, the universe doesn't give you what you want. The universe gives you who you are, and you need to become it in order to live it. So definitely try it on yourself first. Have a plan for yourself, affirm it, believe it, and follow it every single day with exercise and health.
Fantastic. Chloe, how do you keep yourself motivated and continue to grow?
Yeah, so I'd say two things. The first one is that my biggest support has been other advisors. So just going out to and getting involved in organizations, Financial Planning Association, NAPA. I'm a member of Cary, XYPN. So and I've even taken leadership positions in some of those organizations. So just by being involved, I was able to meet so many other advisors, and they've really, some of them have become lifelong friends. In addition to mentors and just support when I needed it. So I'd say that's a big thing. One thing that XYPN encourages us to do is create study groups. So find a small group of advisors who are maybe in a similar stage of their business or their career issue. Or maybe if you have the same niche and you want to kind of help each other with supporting your clients. So just all those things, like finding that tribe is really important. And then, it's kind of similar to what Elaine was saying. I've always felt like, and like my life has some level of purpose, and what I'm doing in my career helps to fulfill that purpose. So just having a higher connection to something greater than you, and really, making sure that you're living that out, helps you to stay motivated.
That's so great. Thank you so much, Chloe. Bridge, what do you have to say?
So, there's so much in this question, but I think serving the clients I align with, there is nothing more motivating, guys, than serving people and you can see that your guidance helps them with a better life. Like that is like super motivating for me. And so I think, just serving the clients, the right clients for yourself, who give you that affirmation that you're really helping make a difference, that is super motivating for me. And I am a huge fan of coaching. So at all different times of my career, I've, pivoted to different coaches. I can't say enough about coaching. Mentors are great. They're, we all need awesome mentors, but coaching is really helpful in terms of growing your career. So there's some great coaching opportunities out there. I'm in 2 different coaching programs right now, and I'm in a mastermind group. So learning from your peers, like the others have said, is invaluable to me. And it also provides you with motivation, right? Like Chloe said, we help each other succeed. Even if you have the same niche, this is, how do you help each other, succeed with that niche? And we're all about abundance mentality. So I think it's a bunch of different things here. But I absolutely think, it comes down to our peers at the very base. And I think that's where everybody, like Chloe said, your tribe is critical. So whoever that tribe is, whether that's your mastermind group, your peers, and your coaching.
Fantastic. And for me, I always say what gets me out of bed in the morning is my desire to change the world for financial planning and to change it for women. So I want to make this industry more female friendly for clients, for employees, for all of us here on this call. Like that's what motivates me, because we have a long way to go, and I feel like we're moving the needle a little bit at a time. I think the great wealth transfer will move a little bit more, but that's super motivating for me because it's such a big goal, and it's so much bigger than me and all of us together, but it's like a combined goal. And together as women, we're so much better together than we are apart. We rise together, we help each other together, we can take over the world together. So, it's not, that's what we do. That's what we're all here for. And for me, like to grow in my career, I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm never going to stop learning and growing because it's just who I am and part of what I am. I'm going to always be a teacher and a speaker and a writer and an educator because it's how I share my knowledge with the world. And so I can always get better at doing that. I can always do more of that. And so, and also what Elaine said on the health and wealth connection is real. It's very important. So you have to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically, all of the above. So I'm like a lunatic with working out and all those things. I probably spend I don't know, at least 2 hours a day doing one of those things that we just talked about, to keep all this going and good and strong and positive. So because you have to, what do they say? You can't put your mask on, you can't help others unless you help yourself first. So like when you're going down on the plane, they say put your mask on first and then you can help others. So you have to keep yourself really good and strong. So we are going to go with another question for you guys. What motivates you the most to stay or to enter the financial planning practice or profession? No right or wrong. I don't know how many, I'm not seeing the numbers of how many people are answering. Okay. Well, let me tell you, whoops. Sorry, I went too far. Let me go back. Oh no, I lost the whole thing, guys. Uh-oh. That was not good. Give me 1 second. Sorry, everybody. I gotta get back in.
So I was reading some of the questions. Some of you were asking about cross-border planning. The name of the organization is STEP, Society of Trust and Estate Practitioners. Also for the test, I know this is going to sound silly, but to take the test, I took blueberries and studied a lot and got a mentor. That's how you can pass the CFP exam. Cinnamon gum too helped me. So I don't know if you guys, there's a lot of people on the call that were asking about CFP tips. So
Okay, great. Sorry, guys. I'm pulling the screen back up again. There we go. Got it. Can everybody see it?
yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so making an impact on a client's lives it's like magic. It's literally like it's feeding your soul, feeding your brain, feeding your pocketbook. It's like, how could you get all these amazing things in one thing? And that's how amazing it is. Like, I can't even, to me, it's magic. How much we affect our clients' lives is literally magic. And we get paid to do it. I would do it for free. I don't want to tell them that, but I would do it for free. That's how much enjoyment and fulfillment I get from my job. And, they say if you love your job, you never work a day in your life. And I always say, I never work a day in my life. So it's the most incredible thing. Okay, what's the one thing that the financial planning industry could do right now to support women? And I just put it up, so I don't know how some of you guys got in there before I lost the screen. Recognition is a big one. Suzanne Syracuse started Investment News Women to Watch from my United Capital Women's Leadership Group. And she came up with that about, I don't know, almost 15, 20 years ago. It's been going on for a long time, but recognition is a big deal. We want to be seen and heard. Mentorship is a very big deal. I'm also part of an organization called WLA, which is Women's Leadership Alliance, where they match you with mentors. If you guys have not heard of that organization. Visibility, networking, recognition, mentorship, opportunity, representation, community, fair pay and opportunities. So we haven't gotten into pay, but when we get to the Q&A part, you guys can ask us questions. I mean, you can ask me how much money I make. I tell people all the time if you want to know. I'm completely transparent about that. But great. This is excellent. Networking, women-only events. And by the way, women-only events are fantastic. My favorite conferences a year, every single year, are the women-only conferences. I mean, there's usually some guys there, but they're usually fantastic, just really incredible. There's probably about 4 to 6 of them a year. So if you haven't gone to one, you'll love it. You should really put it on your list of stuff to do. Fantastic. Okay, so we are exactly where I wanted to be. Could not have been better at 12:46. And now we've got 15 minutes for Q&A. And by the way, these pictures are me and Bridget at the CFP conference 2 weeks ago, me and Bridget and Seema at the conference, me, Bridget, and Chloe at the CFP conference. And then this is me and Elaine at the last CFP conference because she didn't make it to this year's. So that's all of us. Our tribe, as you can see. So I'm going to get into the Q&A. So now I got to pull them up. So sorry guys, I got to put my glasses on for this. So now I got to look at the questions. Okay, Chloe, how old were you when you started your firm?
Yes, I was 35. So I was 10 years in when I left my last job, and I did some consulting for a couple of years for other advisors. And then I started my own firm around 35.
Fantastic. Yeah, I would not suggest starting my own firm at 22.
No.
No. Okay, so this is a good question. What are some entry-level roles in the industry? How do we get over the initial hurdle of being considered inexperienced despite having studied the industry? So I'm going to take this and then I'm going to have you guys, whoever wants to jump in, take it. So it's interesting because there is a lot of roles within the industry. So I was talking about with some students at the CFP conference 2 weeks ago. There they are in the photo. Maybe some of them are on the call. And we were talking about, do you want to be a finder or a minder? And they were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so finder is rainmaker. So that's the one who brings in the clients, which by the way, we know is already the hardest job because you guys already came up with that in the Slido polls, that the most difficult thing is to bring in the clients. So guess what? Somebody who brings in the clients like myself needs somebody to take care of the clients, like somebody who's on the other side of me, who's my number 2. You cannot have one without the other. They are intertwined. They are important. And I could not do my job without somebody who's going to take care of my clients. Now, he has no desire to go out and get his own clients because that's not his skill set, but he's incredible at taking care of everything for me: operations, client support, financial planning, rebalancing, trading, all the stuff. I don't even log into those systems. So, but I need somebody who's going to take care of everything so that my clients have an incredible experience. And so those people are just as important. So you sort of have to decide, because I think everybody thinks that they can do both. And I feel like that there's a delineation between the two, but that's just my experience. You guys can jump in and say what you think about that.
Yeah, I'd say a great way to get experience, whether you're in college or even as a career changer or a grad student, is to get an internship. That's a great opportunity to learn about the industry, to get experience, maybe sit in on client meetings, get some of that education that you need to be able to serve clients.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, Chloe. So when we brought in a younger associate planner a few years ago, who was in her mid-20s, was a career changer, early career changer. We spent a lot of time. We brought her in to be a planner, right? And so she didn't have any experience in our industry. She had taken the CFP coursework, and that was about it. But I think it's really important. We had an onboarding for her where she sat in every client meeting because the expectation was that she would start to help us with that financial planning, right? So I think when you are looking at firms, I think it's really important also, you know, let's say you've got an internship and that gives you exposure to a firm, but I think the role you take within certain firms can make a difference too, depending on what it is that you want, what the path that you want to be. So, you know, at some of the firms I've worked at in the past, when we had interns, they were in financial planning specifically. And so like in the case when we brought on this associate planner, we call her, our onboarding was super focused with her being in the client meetings, exposure to everything financial planning and doing analysis. So I think it goes back to make sure, you know, if you kind of have an idea of where you want to go with this, if you do want to be a planner, I think it's helpful to try to get roles where you are, you're actually going to be on that path to do that. And a lot of firms will be very specific about that.
Yeah, we do. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just add quickly. Think about too the size of the firm that you're working for. So if you're working at a larger firm, that allows you to specialize. If you want to, you know, be on the investment team, or if you want to be on the financial planning team, or get into even marketing or compliance or other areas, operations. But if you work at a smaller company, you probably have the opportunity to learn about multiple roles. So that can factor into your career path.
Right. And there's like small, medium, large size firms. There's bank firms, there's broker-dealer firms, there's RIA firms. Now, based on my experience, my life experience, I prefer, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for saying this, and again, just my opinion, I believe that the RIA side of the house is more female friendly. And you guys can jump in with your thoughts on that. It's just, it feels like it's less, I don't know. I don't even, go ahead, jump
More
in, Bridget.
flexible. It's more flexible.
Mm-hmm. But also, Cary, it's like relationship based. And I think that that's, you know, when you go back to the history of this industry, where the goal was like, how many calls can you make in a day? And it was super revenue focused, which it is still at some firms. I think that if you are at a firm that values financial planning, that is client first, I think that resonates better with women, right? Like that's why many of us are in this. It's about the clients. It's about that community, that connection with the clients. And so that's going to vary by firm.
Exactly. And it goes from transactional to relational. And I feel in my experience that RIAs are more relational. So that says the same thing. This is another really good question from Lauren Lindsay, my friend. And she said, work-life balance issues came later since I wasn't married or a mother, but that's why I left a large firm once I was. And Bridget, I'm going to let you take this one since you're the mom in the group.
Okay, so hi Lauren. So I think that is a really hard thing, and one of the great parts of this industry is the flexibility that it can afford. Now, I think that also goes back to the firm, right, Cary? I mean, not every firm. If you've got a firm that demands that you're in there 9 to 5, which I don't think you need to be as a financial planner, but I also own the firm. I think that that's a different story. But one of the great things about this industry is the flexibility it does afford women. You can serve your clients really well as long as you have access to Wi-Fi and a computer. Now, you know, some firms, your relationship is in person, but you can still work around life. And I think that that is what our industry has evolved. It still has work to go, but I think this is the great way for us to retain women, because if you have flexibility in your life, Lauren, then we should all be able to have a fulfilling work life and a fulfilling family life. But I think it goes back to making sure you're at a firm that honors that flexibility, that values that, because they're going to get the best work out of you.
Great. And then this is an interesting one too. Is it possible to build a successful business helping less wealthy women, say less than 150,000 in salary? Who wants to take this one?
I can answer it. So I have a multidisciplinary firm. So you could make a living just charging for financial planning and actually taking advantage of the big banks that don't even offer that. If you charge $5,000 for a financial plan, you can have a couple clients a month, and you're a solopreneur, you can make 120 a year just with 2 clients. So there is a way to make a living just on financial planning. And as a matter of fact, I started working with family businesses. Of course, they had $500 million, but they had zero liquidity. So you could still charge as a financial planner without investments and assets under management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what I was going to say the same thing. So you don't have to, you can have, it doesn't matter what they make or have, like they don't even have to have assets. As long as you're charging them either an hourly fee or a flat fee or a retainer fee, it doesn't matter. They can literally just, if they can pay you, they can hire you. If they can pay whatever you come up with as your retainer or hourly or flat fee. Now, it takes a while to get to that point of what you think you're going to charge and, your experience level and all of that. But it is 100% doable. I mean, I have some clients that have a lot of money, but they don't have it with me because it's either in their 401k or it's in their family business. But I still charge them an annual retainer, and I talk about all their assets, but I'm not actually managing those assets because they're outside of me. So there's a lot of different ways to skin this cat, and there's a lot of different models. But personally, the fee only model is my absolute favorite.
So we have a couple, we have a practice within our practice, and we serve what we call Gen Z folks, young professionals, we call them. And so these are people who don't have a lot of assets, but they're, getting started, they're in their 20s and 30s, and they want guidance, and we want to help them. So I would say in this case, because there's only one of you, or, there's only so much you can do in this space sometimes, because financially, we offer financial planning to them, but it's kind of, it's not as detailed as it is for some of our bigger clients who have more complex lives. So you can still serve these clients, you can serve anyone, but I think you just need to be mindful of what it is that you're offering. And in that case, we actually have, we have an annual fee, and it's really low. And the purpose is we want to help these people, but we need to do it in a way that is economically feasible for our firm.
Yeah, and I'd say practically speaking, you might just have to do what some advisors call like a barbell approach. And so, you build the bulk of your business off of people who are higher income or have higher net worths. And then that allows you to charge a little bit less and still serve people who might have lower incomes or might not be able to afford, a higher fee.
I have a great last question because we are running out of time. Is there a time where you would be too old to get the CFP? I just turned 55 and I still want to do it. First of all, Laura, you're getting it. Okay, because there is definitely not, we just heard last night, Bridget and I were at an event where a woman started in her 40s and she is still practicing, and she is 86 years old. This is a profession you can do as long as humanly, physically possible. If you've got your brains, you've got your body, the health, wealth connection, you could do it as long as you want. And I mean, it's the most incredible profession, and there's no too young, there's no too late, and anybody else can jump in with any thoughts.
I got my CFP in my 50s. So, because I had started in the broker dealer world, and where I was working, they didn't value the designation. And so I would say, no, it's not too late. Absolutely not. I mean, I'm 61. So you can do the math. I was in my mid 50s, and I think it was the best thing I've ever done.
Does anyone else want to add? We got anything else to that, or should I take one more? We have a lot. Okay, okay. Any advice for those of us who are struggling to be hired into entry-level positions that qualify for CFP experience requirements? Now, I'm a little bit unclear about, is this meaning that you already have the CFP and you don't have the 3 years? Because if you already have the CFP and you don't have the 3 years to put it on, because you need 3 years of experience, you are a golden ticket. Because you've already passed the exam, you've already got the experience, you have the credential, you need your experience, your 3 years experience to get it. I think you would have no problem whatsoever getting a job anywhere. Now, we haven't really talked about job boards, but CFP has a career center. FPA has a career center. NAPFA, National Association of Personal Financial Advisors, has a career center. And LinkedIn. All four of those are incredible resources for getting jobs. To me, I feel like there's more jobs than we can fill right now. I feel like we have a shortage, and we have a shortage. I know for a fact we have a workforce issue because our people are going to be eventually retiring, and we don't have enough people to replace them right now. So it's, again, the opportunity is incredible for you to come into this profession. I don't think you should be worried about not being able to find a job. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think?
There's also
I know we're at time.
Yeah, there's also a diversity. CFP has a diversity online career fair that I know my nephew went and he really enjoyed it and had a lot of interviews on the site. So I would strongly suggest you look into it, cfp.net. You can find a lot of resources there.
Thank you. And we're gonna end it right now, but I want you guys to all reach out to us, connect with us on LinkedIn. Don't just follow us, connect with us so you can continue to ask us questions. And thank you so much. We're here to support your journey. Thank you for spending the hour with us.
Cary, just very quickly, we will be making the recording to the session available to everybody, as well as we will attend to any unanswered questions that we did not have time for.
Which is a lot.
That's amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.